For the last 2 weeks, Maharashtra has dominated the headlines, and while Eknath Shinde is the new Maharashtra Chief Minister, spotlight is on Devendra Fadnavis. Let's take a look at his journey and the crests and troughs. From someone who had lost favour with party leadership for quite some time after an unsuccessful attempt at forming a government in Maharashtra, Fadnavis has emerged as a man of the moment in the state. Speaking to the press, Shinde said he was never after position in power. He was addressing a press conference in Mumbai, and he also praised Fadnavis, stating that BJP has a strength of 120 today and Fadnavis could have easily donned the role of the CM, but he took the bigger role and gave the position to Bala Sahab's Shiv Sena. The Bharatiya Janata Party chief Jagat Prakash Nadda on Thursday said the party's central leadership asked Devendra Fadnavis to become Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister in the Eknath Shinde government. Devendra Fadnavis later decided to join the Maharashtra government on the request of BJP chief JP Nadda, Union Home Minister Amit Shah also said in a tweet. While rebel Shiv Sena Eknath Shinde took oath as the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, BJP's Devendra Fadnavis was sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister. In November 2019, a day before a floor test in the Maharashtra Assembly, the then Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis had to resign as he didn't have the adequate numbers. He had lost the race to power. Fadnavis' resignation paved the way for the Uddhav Thackeray-led Mahavikas Aghadi (MVA) to stake claim on the government with Shiv Sena President Uddhav Thackeray in the Chief Minister's chair. Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray had to resign on the eve of a trust vote to prove his government's majority Thursday, knowing that defeat was inevitable after the worst ever rebellion in the Shiv Sena. Earlier this month, a group of Sena MLAs led by Minister Eknath Shinde broke away from the party and turned against the MVA government, resulting in it losing the majority in the state assembly. Thackeray's resignation cleared the way for Bharatiya Janata Party's return in Maharashtra along with Shinde. As the Print's Maharashtra correspondent Mansi Fatke points out, Fadnavis completed a full circle from a leader fallen in disgrace after a smug campaign of "Me Punha Ye, I'll be back" in the run-up to the 2019 Maharashtra Assembly elections and a desperate ATR government to the man of the moment at the centre stage of Maharashtra's politics today. After a long time, a new tribe of leaders described as the Trinity have emerged in the Bharatiya Janata Party, who are displaying independent thinking, a vision and a grassroots connection, and Fadnavis is one of them. After losing his chief ministership, Fadnavis worked hard to strengthen the party's base in Maharashtra after the MVA government came into being. At the same time, he continued to travel across the state during COVID-19 pandemic and also took stock on the ground after floods in different parts of Maharashtra last year. Fadnavis's political stature within the BJP had started surging after 2013 when he was appointed as the state president at a time when senior leaders such as Gopinath Munde and Nitin Gadkari were trying to push their own candidates. Gradually, Fadnavis became the face of the BJP in Maharashtra after his appointment as the Chief Minister in 2014, even as Nitin Gadkari's supporters wanted to see him at the top position. According to party sources, Fadnavis became the choice for the post since the top leadership wanted to avoid creating a parallel power center to Modi in Gadkari. Since then, there has been no turning back, and in the past few years, Fadnavis has only tightened his hold over Maharashtra BJP, distancing old guards such as Vinod Tavade, Eknath Khadse and Pankaja Munde. Speaking to The Print, a senior party functionary described Fadnavis as a leader who remained connected with the party cadre and the workers after what he termed as the failed experiment of 2019. The leader said while some in the party had written his political obituary, he stunned everyone with the recent political development. All this while, he managed to keep the focus away from him and held closed-door meetings. The Print had earlier also reported how Fadnavis had lost favour with the party leadership for some time after his failure to form a BJP government in Maharashtra after the 2019 election, despite the party emerging as the single largest in the assembly. The reason for BJP's inability to form government at the time was the Shiv Sena walking out of its alliance with the BJP after the election, alleging that the BJP was going back on his promise of sharing all posts, including the CM's chair, equally. The Shiv Sena eventually managed to stitch together an alliance of ideological rivals, Congress and NCP, keeping the BJP out of power. Fadnavis's political capital took a further hit after his failed attempt to form a government with the support of a faction of NCP MLAs under Ajit Pawar and a rushed midnight oath-taking ceremony. The government lasted only for 80 hours as Pawar and others returned to their party camp. However, the BJP leader has since bounced back, helming the party's campaign for major victories in the assembly elections in Bihar and Goa in 2020 and 2022, and most recently the Rajya Sabha and MLC elections in Maharashtra earlier this month, which kicked off the MVA's turmoil and eventually its fall. Fadnavis also kept the focus sharply on the MVA government through his regular criticism of what the BJP describes as inefficient governance and through his clout within the state's bureaucracy. Some of the key issues that he raised include the RA Metro card shed, the Sachin Vaze case, and an alleged IPS transfer and postings racket. And as far as him pulling BJP back in power in Maharashtra, along with Eknath Shinde and other rebel MLAs is concerned, some say it may just be the beginning for Devendra Fadnavis for a bigger role. This is Neelam Pandey reporting for The Print.